Hey everybody, welcome back to another massive late fee audio commentary. Today we are doing one of my favorite cinematic experiences ever, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Mike and I obviously have talked about this on the show before. I'll probably try to link that below so you can find that episode where we talk about all of Kevin Smith's films. This is this is a very inside movie, so we'll try to point out little things here and there when we get to them. And we're watching this on Netflix, as I'm sure a lot of you will be. So we're starting right at the beginning on Netflix, and if you're watching this on DVD, that's going to be where the Miramax, the Los Predados Studios. Miramax Studios starts to play. So everyone can press play now. So as I mentioned, we get the Miramax logo, which has a little more grisly connotations now. But yeah, and it's funny because they're talking about doing a Jay and Silent Bob reboot movie where they're trying to stop a reboot of their movie, which I think is a really funny idea. But I'm going to guess that Miramax is not going to handle that movie, would be my guess.
I don't know. Are they still operational? They have the one non-raper guy.
Right? Yeah, I don't know. I think they're still operational. Here's one of our first Star Wars references. Obviously, there are a few of them in this movie and a lot of Kevin Smith's movies.
Here comes the cinematic debut of Harley Quinn Smith.
That's right. There she is, playing a young Silent Bob. I love the Quick Stop is the same, but the other store is the Record Rack, because tapes weren't as prevalent, obviously, in the 70s. And this obviously is the origin story of Jay and Silent Bob in front of the stores.
The guy says, "Keep on trucking."
Right. It's interesting. I read that Jay is about 4 years younger than Kevin Smith, and they didn't really meet in high school. They went to the same high school, but he was a senior, Kevin was a senior, and Jay was a freshman, and they met when Kevin was working at like an after-school program that Jay used to come into.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that. The soundtrack for this movie is great, by the way.
Oh yeah, yeah. Here we start with "Jungle Love" by Morris Day and the Time. And yeah, there are a lot of really good songs. This is one, I think we mentioned it on the podcast, where you and I listened to the soundtrack just over and over.
Yep.
They have I know you liked Marcy's Playground has a song on here on the soundtrack. And I know you were maybe not as big of a fan as that one big hit they had, but I know you were a fan of a lot of their other songs.
Yeah, I like them. I've seen them like 3 or 4 times in concert. But yeah, I think it's Deadly Handsome Man that's on this.
Yeah, that's right.
Is that guy on the left? Is that an Affleck? He kind of looks like an Affleck.
Ooh, he really does. I mean, it's definitely not Casey, but maybe an even younger brother.
Could be. Are they like the Culkins?
Right. They just seem to.
I love that line. Are you even supposed to be here today?
It's very interesting to see This is kind of the first time that we've seen the store in color, and it's really interesting to see it. He really does look like an Affleck. Another Star Wars joke here. And this is
Like, would there be any other outcome that Dante wouldn't be the bitch?
right. That's another great outline. He's so offended. I'm the bitch. He's like, well, if we were gay, that's how I'd see it.
I mean, I think everyone would see it that way.
Yeah, for sure. That's the guy that played Rick Darris.
Nice.
An interesting sort of cover there.
Yeah. I don't know if that's supposed to be Rick Darris.
No, I don't think it is. But and here we go with
Brody's
Brody.
Sesh.
Yep. Obviously, that's based on the comic book store that Kevin Smith actually owns.
I think that's what at the end of Mallrats, isn't that where it showed him going to buy his own comic shop in Red Bank?
Yeah. Yeah, but always great to see Brody again. One of my favorite characters.
Oh yeah.
And this obviously is where they find out for the first time about it. And for a lot of people, like you kind of mentioned, and here's a nice Mallrats callback here. But and then there's another Mallrats one where it shows that the Brody left.
Yeah, Brody. Oh, what was it?
Bolts.
Brody Bolts.
Yeah. But
this is kind of interesting right here. He mentions the comics being all bought up to make movies, and that really didn't happen until years after this.
Yeah, that's it. Definitely, he was really kind of ahead of the curve on that because this is the early 2000s.
2001, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and that. I mean, it really kind of started around 2008, so almost 10 years later.
I'm really surprised Kevin Smith didn't direct any of those. Like maybe you would think like an Ant-Man or something, like a more comedic type of comic.
Yeah, I know he was, obviously he had been in talks for a couple different ones to at least write scripts. He was going to do the I can't remember what it is, Superman Lives or something like that. Superman Lives. He was going to write this script for that. But obviously that didn't come to fruition. That was the one where Nicolas Cage was going to play Superman.
Yeah, that would have went well.
And here we get Holden. Like you said, this would be confusing for a lot of people that don't really follow this movies because Jason Lee plays two different characters in this movie, as does Ben Affleck.
Right.
I remember in the audio commentary, Kevin Smith said that Ben Affleck had been working a lot during this time period when he came back to shoot this scene, because he came back to shoot this, and he had sort of stubble, and he was looking kind of tired, and he said that was...
Yeah, he looks exhausted.
Yeah, and he said that was kind of the perfect, look for the character. It's funny because, at the end of Chasing Amy, he did that comic book Chasing Amy, but all we really see is kind of Blunt Man and Chronic stuff around his thing, so apparently that never really took off.
Yeah, the one that really he put his heart and soul into it, no one cared about.
Right. And lots of things. You can see a Nails thing in the background behind Jay. Lots of Nails cigarette things hidden around all over the place.
That's a great one. I like how it just so plaintively explains what it is.
Yeah, that's one of the best things. The internet is a communication tool. And this, as you pointed out before, this website, Movie Poop Shoot, is owned by Kevin Smith. And also sort of ahead of its time in the everyone bitching about movies on the internet thing.
I think he refers to himself here in the third, not quite the third person because he's a character, but he's Ben Affleck or something like that. They put those in those.
Yeah, that's right. It's a Miramax movie.
Yeah, there you go. I like that's how it is. Jay's, there you go, Phantoms.
That's the best. That's also from the audio commentary of Mallrats, where they talk extensively about phantoms.
In fact, that's the only way you even get that reference.
Yep, absolutely. And this, this kind of hate against movies and stuff, and people being really divided about them, that's a thing that definitely goes on now. I don't know if it was as prevalent back then, but it's definitely there now.
What's funny is I didn't see all of Yoga Hosers, but as you said, they basically it's like a huge critique against critics, yeah. And they're even doing that in this movie.
Yeah,
or at least it's more like internet critic.
Right. Oh, I have to mention on the podcast on Tuesday, I need to write it down. I saw Tusk because it is also here on Netflix. So
it is?
Yep. So I got to talk about that and what we're watching. Let me write that down on our very, very organized sheet.
I said I'd watch the Avengers, whatever it was with the Thanos guy. What's that called?
Infinity War.
I watched maybe 5-10 minutes of it, and I turned it off. It was like the worst fucking movie I ever saw in my whole life.
You really need to be a fan and to watch the other movies to get it. It's sort of like this one.
But not good.
That's why he wants to put a stop to the movie, because he feels that he won't get a blowjob from a girl if she hears that people are making fun of him on the internet.
Yeah, because Jay's got a line around the block, so.
Right. It's funny, too, because, another thing that I've heard attracts women, money. The money they'd get from this movie.
Did you ever read this thing Kevin Smith wrote about, Jay's time, on, drugs?
No, I've heard about it, but I haven't written it. I know that Jay was on heroin here.
Yeah, it's called My Shadow or something like that. It's really good. It's in 8 parts. If you just Google Kevin Smith My Shadow, I think it's what it's called. You'll find it. But it's a long 8 parts, but it's really good.
Yeah, I will definitely check that out. I've heard a lot of things. He Kevin Smith brought him into his house and everything, and he gave a lot to help him get off drugs. And, thankfully, at least as far as I know, he's been, 8 years sober or something like that.
Yeah. I just don't understand why they care at all about, even he points out assholes they don't know.
Right. And it's funny because Holden, he sold his rights to Banky, so he has no financial stake in this in any way.
Nope.
And thus starts one of the funniest road trip movies of all time.
Yeah, I forgot this really is a road trip movie. I mean, how could you not think that? But
yeah, it has all the classic tropes of road trip movies, just obviously done better.
I wouldn't be shocked if this was the exact same bus station from Dogma, where what's his name, Azrael has traveled.
Yeah. I heard, obviously, this came out after, this is the next movie after Dogma, and I heard Kevin Smith talk about how he wanted to make just a fun movie with no controversy, and I like the tongue sticking out.
Yeah, a nice, funny little cameo by George Carlin.
All right. But he said he wanted to make a non-controversial movie, and this one still had controversy for some of the gay jokes and things like that. That's also kind of ahead of its time. Gay, straight, it's all the same now. There are no more lines.
Yeah.
Weird to think that all hitchhikers do this.
Yeah.
If it's an unwritten book, can it still really be considered a book?
I guess. I like how his face when he gets in the cab is hilarious.
Yeah, this part coming up with where he goes down, it's one of the funniest things ever. Man, George Carlin knows how to sell a joke. Oh, and here we go. They get picked up by and he told them by a nun, and he told them it doesn't matter who the driver is. And another Star Wars reference, Carrie Fisher, who has a Buddy Christ on her car from Dogma.
Yeah, that's nice. I love the Buddy Christ. That's great.
I saw this was a few weeks ago. Kevin Smith got a post taken down because it violated copyright, and it was him posting a picture of Buddy Christ. And he was saying on Twitter, he's like, Mark Zuckerberg, I own this. It's mine. It's like she's almost tempting him. Now, here's the thing. I'm not exactly... I mean, it's... Doing this to a woman in a moving car is obviously going to be a little more difficult than doing it to a guy.
Yeah, it seems more difficult.
$5 hours. Walking, I wonder if they walked backward the entire time. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I guess you were right. This part with the Scooby-Doo stuff was a lot earlier than the crime stuff that comes up later.
It also reminds me of like Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and it's like just like a bunch of weird like asides.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, and that's another movie I like a lot. They did a pretty decent job casting here. I think they're almost as good, maybe even better than the actual Scooby-Doo movie they did a little while later with Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr.
I like how in this movie Kevin Smith finally feels like free enough to just flat out just fuck around.
Yep. Somehow Shaggy is outside the car. And Fred's blindfolded driving. And it's really unclear what happened.
Right?
Did they really ever get into that thing or what? And they're in Twister Park, which I wonder if it's a reference to the movie Twister, which would have been about 5 years old at this time. I never caught that. The movie jingle says, "Who's a friend to the king of monkeys?"
Yeah.
Yep, and I guess the internet was in such an early form here that they had an internet connection with a computer at the restaurant since it was such a novelty.
You are the ones who are the ball lickers.
Right? Great line. One of the best line deliveries by Muse.
This is reminiscent of Clerks when they're just like swearing in front of, regardless of who's there.
Yeah. It's also funny that this internet connection has no parental controls. It's like a child's themed restaurant.
Where did Sam and Bob learn to type so fast?
Yeah. No, that wasn't. It kind of looked like Ben Folds, but that's not him. Here comes the distractions. This movie does really move at a pretty
it's a
quick
fast
pace.
movie. I just realized it.
This is probably peak Shannon Elizabeth era.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking she was not really in a lot of stuff.
No, not anymore.
Like ever, I don't think. Like her total career didn't seem to be a lot of movies.
Yeah, not a ton. Nice of Kevin Smith to write a makeout scene with super hot chick for his friend. Like you pointed out during the audio commentary, this bit gets a really huge laugh at the theater. I love Kevin Smith's look.
Like, how does he think she doesn't hear that?
Right.
Hearing Shannon and Elizabeth read her lines, I realize why she's not in a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's Kevin Smith's wife in the middle, Jen Schwalbach. And then obviously Elijah Dushku, who's been in a lot more stuff than Shannon Elizabeth, and is probably a better actress. And Ollie Larder, who hasn't been in a ton of stuff recently, although she's had a guest spot on a show that my wife and I watch called Splitting Up Together.
Was she in Heroes, or was that a different Ellie?
No, that's right. She was in Heroes. I started watching the first season of that, and then my wife told me that the second season's terrible, and then it ends, and there's no resolution to it. And I'm like, why am I watching this?
Yeah, she's 100% right.
She knows I hate that too when there's no resolution to shows. But she's like, the first season is so good, you need to, you should just see it just for the first season.
And it falls off really quickly and really hard.
Even Jen Schwalbach is a decent actress for someone who obviously is not a trained actress.
Yeah.
And doesn't have a ton of experience, especially during this time period. Sean William Scott, and I still find him entertaining even today.
I am yet to find a appearance by him that isn't hilarious. Like, he was in Always Sunny. He's great in that. He was in, obviously in this. There's something else he was in that I saw that he's great. He's just really funny. I don't know why he's not in more stuff.
Yeah, he has very good comedic timing. Like
And
even yeah,
what's important is he knows his exactly what he's supposed to be doing in every movie. You know,
yep,
he doesn't. He's perfectly like he has the perfect tone for what they're asking out of his role.
yep. Like in that, like he was in that movie Road Trip, which is, there are some really funny parts of that movie. There's some parts of that movie that are not as funny, but his role in that movie is hilarious. And one of my favorite parts is when he's talking about the main character is talking about how he's not going to be able to pass this test, and his solution is like, well, just cheat. He's like, I can't. It's all essays and stuff, and just instantly he goes, well, you're fucked then. And the way he says it is hilarious.
He plays a dick a lot, but he's really funny. I think.
I especially like him here. This like kind of earnestness, and geekiness. He does this really well.
If you get around to the Always Sunny, it's called shit. What is it called? Mac Day.
Okay.
That's where he's like he plays Country Mac, Mac's cousin from like the country or whatever.
Okay.
But he's just like Mac, but he like just like owns up to everything. And it's the funniest thing ever. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I'm loving It's Always Sunny. That was such a great recommendation. Here we go, where Jay finally outsmarts somebody. Prince Valiant.
That's a great reference.
Yeah. You bet your ass I would.
The way he says it is so creepy.
Yeah.
I like how he doesn't even ask for any like validation from them. He just says, "Oh, he fucked sheep," and he throws them out.
Right.
There's a way for him to say, "Whoa, that's messed up." He's like, I can throw him out now."
Oh. It's kind of messed up.
Jay is also like a great timing
Yeah.
guy. Even when he tells the story, it just makes no sense.
Yeah.
It's literally the thinnest premise to get them like on the road.
Yep. But it works somehow for this movie.
I love this part too. This is good.
Yep. She went for the setup.
I hear that Harvey Weinstein himself approved this segment of the script.
Yeah. I love the cut to Kevin Smith and Justice too, where it's kind of implied that this entire time he's just sitting there looking from invisible thing to invisible thing on his shoulder. So much time has passed.
I like how Bob knows exactly what he's thinking.
Right?
And he just looks so disturbed. Almost.
Right.
Or until she's sleeping. Just where else would he be?
Right? Right. I think
I
that's.
bet, the,
Yeah, go ahead.
I bet it's the same van they used for the Scooby Doo segment.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm sure. That line where he says "fuck you, fatty" and slaps him looks like an ad lib.
Yeah.
I like how he goes to help out all the girls, and none of them accept it except for Justice.
I think they're kind of sizing up this, like, like it's like, fuck this party store.
Yeah. It just doesn't feel right.
I just noticed Jay's wearing a Berserker t-shirt.
Oh, yeah. That's a Clerks reference. What a segue. That does seem like you can relate a lot of this stuff to Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein's defense. She didn't pull out the pepper spray. That's a great line too.
Yeah, what is her role in the gang?
I don't know. It really doesn't make any sense.
They're really covered. They don't need a fourth.
No. That's just splitting money an extra way for no reason. It's not even like she's the driver.
Really, she's a liability at this point.
Yep.
So you got to wonder what's wrong with Justice at this point.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, the writing in this part's not great.
No. You can see him laughing at the very end. Now here comes another a big part of the movie where they record the message. You still there?
Yeah.
This is definitely something they could believe, given in Mallrats. I can't remember her name, but the what's it, Trish?
Trish the Dish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember her name.
Her sexual project for that book.
What a scoundrel.
The action scene moves. He almost trips over him. Oh. Another Mallrats reference where he's still got his...
Yeah, the same gun, yep. So I always thought it would be fun if that worked in real life, like a grappling hook, like in the movies, but it just doesn't do that, I don't think.
No. And it somehow throws them through a window.
Right? This one it shifts from the other way.
Yeah, and it's just posing for nothing. I mean, obviously for the benefit of the audience, but in the guise of the story, posing for no one.
Right. I don't think they're very good thieves if they're just walking out in the open, almost arm in arm.
Yeah. In tight leather outfits.
In order by height, I just noticed as well.
Yeah.
Just now, they're trying to be subtle.
Mm-hmm.
It's just in like her birth control.
Yeah.
So I thought Kevin Smith's wife was a tech girl. She's the muscle then?
I think so, yeah.
She was the tallest.
That is true.
It's pretty brave of the Colorado Diamond Exchange to advertise themselves so boldly.
Right? With a giant diamond on their building. And they just so happen to be next to this testing facility. Oh, I just noticed too, the name of this testing facility is Provasic Testing Facility, which I have to assume is a reference to The Fugitive, because the name of the drug that they were trying to test in that movie was Provasic.
Oh, I didn't remember that from The Fugitive. I don't think I've seen the whole movie all the way through.
I just remember Harrison Ford in that charity dinner or whatever where he breaks in at the Provasic. Suzanne, obviously a Mallrats callback where it was their first major studio, and the studio was like, oh, we can get you whatever you want. And Kevin Smith said, how about a monkey? And they said, oh, sure. So they did it for the end credits just because they could get a monkey. and it becomes
I didn't know that.
he becomes a plot point in this movie.
A Weezer song used in the soundtrack.
Yep. Yeah, that's where
I wonder if I don't know which name came first, the song or the the character name.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that they contacted Weezer personally to make a song, so I'm not sure. I mean, I guess I would assume that Weezer came up with the name because they probably just said any name will do. This is obviously sort of a play on that one movie with Catherine Zeta-Jones. I can't remember.
And Sean Connery.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name either.
Is it Entrapment?
Yeah, that's it. Entrapment. This scene's fun, even though Kevin Smith didn't even bother to actually like show her from like a side angle, so you could see her like nimbly dodging the things. You just kind of have to assume she does.
Mm-hmm. Not the best special effects scene I've ever seen in a movie, but
No.
And as Kevin Smith points out, this turns out to be one of the smart fart jokes he's ever done, where it's completely set up before by the fast food thing.
This is true. I don't understand why it would need all three of them to be over on that side to get that one little bag.
Don't know. And apparently it didn't even really matter if they set off the alarms. Seems like it would have been faster for them to just run through those lasers, grab it, and leave.
Pretty much. Isn't this like the prelude to Outbreak, where all the animals at the testing facility are just let loose?
Yeah. Oh, I never noticed that on his Berserker shirt is the guy from Clerks.
Yeah. It's like actually like a movie merch shirt that he's wearing, which is very odd.
So that means that he must have been in like he made a song in the lore of the universe. He made the song famous, or a movie about it famous.
Right.
I know that they think that the girls are dead right now, but it is pretty clear to see that there's no one in there. Like, that door is all the way off. Star Trek 2 reference.
Oh man, speaking of Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah, is it the guy who plays who's Walter Koenig? He plays like the Chekhov or something?
Yeah, that's right.
You know how his son was a boner from Growing Pains?
Yeah.
Like last week I was reading or a couple weeks ago, like I had read this before, it was like the cringiest thing ever. He unfortunately committed suicide a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But he was missing for a while, and the guy who what's his name? Kirk Cameron did a public service announcement for it. It was the cringiest thing ever.
I'll have to look that up on the internet.
It was like, I know everyone loved how it was when Mike and Boner would hang out in the good old days. It was like the weirdest statement ever. Of course, he has a VCR. Everyone did.
Will Ferrell's really good in this movie too.
This is like one of his earlier movies, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially to have a larger role.
So I know he's in like one of their early. I don't know if it was the first Austin Powers movie or like the second, but he was definitely in one of those two.
Yeah, he was in the first one. I think he was in both, but he was in the first one. Just real small role.
Oh my gosh, I was yesterday. I was looking through Netflix and Goldmember was on there.
Oh God.
It's like, oh, watch this. I'll just remember how like it was like kind of like fun to watch because of how bad it was. But oh my god, it was just so purely bad. It was just like not fun to watch at all.
Is that the one with Steven Spielberg at the beginning?
Yep, and Kevin Spacey.
Yeah. That Steven Spielberg part with the where he holds up the Oscar or whatever, that might be the only thing that I still find funny about that movie. Just the look on his face is so funny for some reason. I'll tell you, Kevin Smith does a decent job of directing this scene for sure because he really gets the nice angles and everything where it really does sell it as one of those conspiracy montages in a movie.
See, I thought this was like at the beginning of the movie for some reason.
Ape stop groceries.
Okay, he's just yelling. All his lines here are just being yelled.
Yep.
That scene back there marked the 5,000th time the ending of Planet of the Apes was parody.
Right. One of the best parodies that I've seen is the Simpsons did a Twilight Zone parody where it's the one with Burgess Meredith where the world's ended or whatever and he has time to read now. And then the Simpsons parody, he's like, oh, I finally have the time, and his glasses fall off and break, and he's like, well, at least I can read the big print books, and then his eyes just fall out.
Yeah.
And then
was that the Simpsons or Futurama?
Oh, I can't remember. It might have been Futurama. And then his hands just fall off. It's hilarious.
Yeah, that was Futurama, because then it cuts away to Bender going, cursed by his own hubris.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, well, at least I can still read Braille. And then, like, his fingers fall off, and then just, like, his head just falls right off for no reason.
Yeah. This is Jon Stewart had just been installed as I think maybe a couple years before this on The Daily Show. Looking a lot younger.
One of the best jokes of the movies from Ben Affleck here when they cut away to him.
Mm-hmm. Quite a green screen they're sitting in front of.
Which is funny because he just like didn't like enjoy it at all. As soon as he learned she was a lesbian or bisexual in that movie, he just like lost interest in her.
Yeah.
So he never enjoyed it at any point. I just noticed the signs that are 37th heist.
Yeah, and that's real incognito. They're just drinking champagne with a giant sign. Oh.
37th in a row.
Congratulations.
As every woman fantasizes about.
Yeah. A overweight pizza delivery guy.
I like how he doesn't have to talk Silent Bob into it at all. He's already on board with the monkey.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's funny, too, because they should be pretty easy to find, seeing as they're two guys in a restaurant with an orangutan.
Right?
Here's Judd Nelson of Breakfast Club fame.
As mentioned, the great film Dogma.
Yep. You know, it's funny. I wonder if they contacted him after that or whatever. He heard about that and was like, "Oh, thanks for being a fan," and they decided to bring him in.
Right.
Just that also warns both of them.
Yeah, that's why would they not also hit the deck?
Right.
Blueprints. Why would they fall for this for even 1 second?
Yeah. I like that he's just not doing anything about it here. I mean, I don't know exactly what the jurisdiction is here, but
I like how even like in this, he has to show that he's not actually gay. Like it's so bothersome to him.
he certainly looks insatiable.
And then a little nod.
Here comes one of my favorite lines, too. There it is. I love that nod, too. Like, yeah, it was like Winnie the Pooh.
So when they follow him in. Like how the sheriff just couldn't care less. Okay.
There's a lot of outtakes on the DVD of this of different things that he says. I remember the last one that he says is, "Let's go back to the station, have some man chowder,"
Yeah, I remember that actually.
and everyone like kind of cracks up. Here's another fugitive reference.
Just how far of a fall is this?
Right? He has time to turn around, register surprise, deliver a few lines.
You just look at like how high up it appeared from like the angle they showed.
Mm-hmm. This is another weird thing. It's a Critters of Hollywood car. They they just see an orangutan on the side of the road and decide, okay, we're just taking this.
Well, that company's seedy.
Right.
That's a great part too.
It is interesting that they can go this entire movie with two characters as the leads, Jay and Silent Bob, and one of them doesn't speak at all,
Right.
but they still communicate.
It's kind of funny how you can tell it's like this is an incident where it's just obvious that it's Silent Bob's being completely unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
I guess silence is just like really making it more of an issue than it could be.
Right.
I love that reference that you tell that Chasing Amy story all the time.
Yeah.
I think the very few times he chooses to speak to his best friend, he just calls him an asshole, basically.
Right. It's so funny too because it's almost like his silence is pathological.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's not like he's just he's a quiet type guy.
Yeah, that's when you realize that he's actually a sociopath that's controlling Jay the whole time.
Yeah. Rules of the road.
In a Jeep, nonetheless.
Right. That is true, though. I mean, like for all of he knows, she's dead.
I like how his other change of clothes is like a quick stop outfit.
Yeah.
One of the very early appearances in a movie by Tracy Morgan.
Yep.
Humpkin Escobar. That's a great name. Who's the other guy? He looks familiar.
I don't know. He does look familiar though. He might be one of like Kevin Smith's mainstays that's in a few different movies of his.
Could be. I don't know. Which is interesting because later Kevin Smith directs him in a movie with Bruce Willis.
Yep.
And he said nothing but good things about Tracy Morgan.
Oh yeah. Not so with Bruce Willis.
I think this little speech he gets here in this response. What I just realized is these two also have like one guy who never speaks.
Yeah, that's true.
Scott. The Daily Show.
Yeah, this was a popular show way back then when.
What is that guy's name? Steve Kometko, maybe?
Yeah, I think that's right.
I remember that fuck.
Oh.
Jules Asner, another person you haven't heard from in years.
Yep.
It's a great use of censorship. I think she has to unquote it just to show that it's not her saying it at some point.
Right. They just leave all those diamonds just lying around.
I don't know why she wouldn't just take her share and then leave. You know, she had to take all of them.
Yeah, it's kind of mean.
I mean, it's her 37th heist, you know?
Yeah, it should be sacred.
She should have some money, like, you know, socked away at least. And if she didn't steal all of it, then they wouldn't come after her.
That's true.
Just take your quarter and leave. That's it. Oh, Dietrich Bader is great in this.
Yeah, he is.
He's another actor who has like little small parts in some things, like Napoleon Dynamite. What else is he in? Oh, he's in obviously Office Space.
Yep. Echo Base, which is another Star Wars reference.
I like how they use the adjective or the verb disappear.
Mm-hmm.
That really sweetened the deal.
Yeah.
Just do what they're doing now.
Right. It's not any worse.
How can I to squat down to get to dick level?
Right.
Like, he can't just look down. He's got to, like, be kneeling in. The classic cartoonish peek around the corner.
Mm-hmm. And that's a Reservoir Dogs reference with those guys walking in the suits. Apparently, Suzanne's real name is Tango.
Again, they're just practicing their acting.
Right. Forces of Nature. God, that was a terrible movie.
What's funny is I'm sure this is another really weird, obscure reference. When Ben Affleck says you're gonna do the safe movie, then like the art movie,
Right.
but he was like time he was doing like a ton of interviews where he said that exact same thing. He's like, oh, I have to make a movie that I don't want to make the movies I want to make.
Yep.
So Kevin Smith probably got it from those interviews.
Yeah.
That's a hilarious choice of a director to be all about the money.
Yep. Yeah, because it wouldn't work with, that joke wouldn't work with some other director. Like if it was,
Or any other, pretty much.
Right.
I love the writing on Good Will Hunting too.
Right. Half-flexed line delivery. I don't like those apples. Why would this movie go in this direction?
I actually didn't see Good Will Hunting, but it didn't seem like it would go in that direction to me either.
No. That seems like kind of a close to home thing where he says I wasn't even with a hooker today.
I like how again there was a reference to Phantoms. He just couldn't leave without telling him that he was great in Phantoms.
Yep. I think here's the Scream. Yeah. And obviously Jay and Silent Bob are in Scream 3. Oh, and you know what? I didn't even think about this, but Shannon Doherty's back. So they did work together again after Mallrats.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Late Wes Craven. Oh, and here's a this is the E.T. reference.
The music is almost like Pee Wee Herman, which is kind of funny because they're also running around a movie studio.
Mm-hmm. I believe we get the Ben Affleck and Moonraper poster here soon. Yep. Coming this summer. Can Ben Affleck stop the Moon Raper? And now not only do we get Sean William Scott, but now we get the appearance of his co-star in American Pie. What's his name?
Biggs.
Biggs, yeah.
And Shannon Elizabeth is also in this movie. So
Yep, that's true. And Dawson himself, who also doesn't do a lot of stuff. There's an Air Bud poster on the wall.
I like how he cites his other movies here, which aren't that good.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, that's true. He really didn't, he really never got past that.
Which is funny because that's, you know, his woman justice.
Yep. I think that's an ad lib where he pretends to suck the dick. Because you can see he's almost smiling and Kevin's almost smiling behind him.
I thought they're super knowledgeable about Dawson's Creek.
Yeah. Santa's got a bag this Christmas. Santa's got a brand new bag. And I think it says Jackie
Brown. At least it looks like the same font.
Right. I'm trying to see if it's just Jackie Brown or if it's a joke, like, on that movie.
Yeah.
Obviously a Miramax film. And I don't know, I don't know if Air Bud is a Miramax property or not, but that's the other picture on the wall. Do you want us to call your publicist?
So why did you give him a thumbs up when he says they're in here?
Right. So, doesn't anyone watch the WB? That's such a great line.
I like how he doesn't even have a mask for Silent Bob at all.
Right. And how does anyone think that Silent Bob is Jason Biggs? Jamie Kennedy in a little cameo.
Any boogers in it. Just why? Nice, Becky.
Yep.
I love when that comes back to haunt him.
Yep. And coming up real soon is a cameo from Paul Dini, who you guys might know as the creator and kind of main force behind Batman the Animated Series. He's done a lot of Batman related stuff over the years.
He's just way too young to have invented it before.
Right. 1969.
Very odd role that Chris Rock has in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, you'd never see a role like that today.
There he is, Paul Dini.
Nice. I never knew that was him.
Yep. I don't know if you told me about it, but or if it was somebody else, but he wrote a really, I think it was you. He wrote a really interesting comic about his life, basically, where it's him talking with Batman and talking to some other characters, and it's about the time he got robbed and almost killed.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't hear about that. Something like that happened to Henry Rollins, though. It was pretty crazy, like a story about that. Like, his friend was killed in front of him, and like he just happened to like be missed or the gun jammed or something crazy like that.
Oh God. Mark Hamill here, really hamming it up, playing Cockknocker.
And Kevin Smith's so excited that Mark Hamill's in his movie that he has to pause it and say it, on frame.
Right.
Batman and Chronic seems to be nothing but like, like a rip-off of a Batman with like marijuana references.
Right. It seems that he finally got a hang of the Force there.
Yeah, from Mallrats again.
Because everyone seems surprised. I'm sure this is like one of the dreams for Kevin Smith to have a lightsaber fight with Mark Hamill.
Right. I was just thinking about that. I'm like, yeah, this movie he basically just wrote so he could do stuff he's always wanted to do.
Right.
Just why would he say that?
Yeah.
This part just makes no sense at all because Jay and Silent Bob don't even understand they're in the movie for the most part.
Right.
But they have like actual weapons they're fighting with.
Right. And then I love that he says that that part wasn't in the script. Was everything else that happened in the script?
Yeah, like that. Only at that point is he like, "Hey, wait a second, we're going off script here."
Right.
What's funny is you almost forget about Will Ferrell's character, and I think Kevin Smith probably did for a while too.
Yeah.
Like he had a phone call from Will Smith's manager or Will Ferrell's manager, like, "Hey, when are we going to do that other part?" He's like, "Oh yeah, hold on."
Why would you just indiscriminately shoot without even looking?
The kid looks through the back hole.
Sorry, everyone. How would he be okay?
Not good. It's like the longest lightsaber fight that no one has stopped at any point.
Right.
And also, they're real lightsabers, apparently.
Apparently.
So I don't know if that's a good reference.
I don't know.
I guess if it makes House Party look like House Party 2, then it's better than House Party, but that's not saying much.
Right. That's pretty over the top.
A little bit.
How did he know exactly where they were and recognize them?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Jay just nods like, oh, of course. That makes perfect sense. Here's the...
I like how the gunshots on like laser beams.
Right?
I wonder if that's like what they like. If he stole that sound from Star Wars or something, you know, almost like they're laser guns. I wouldn't be shocked.
Right. The action-packed finale of the movie. So much stuff is just going on at once. There are people shooting. They're going to have a fist fight. A reference to the movie she's in, Bring It On. A lot more movie references in this movie than I remembered.
Yeah, you haven't seen this in a while.
He's
This Banky has to suck up so bad.
yeah, he's taking this moment to introduce himself.
There's a couple gunfights and a weird martial art specific fight going. I don't remember that.
They were calling us names.
I like Banky's style of like yelling all his lines as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jay just nods along the whole time.
Right. I don't think we ever get a specific amount, but
Apparently it's unlocked because they fly around the country beating people up.
yeah, and they still have enough money left over in Clerks 2, spoiler alerts for Clerks 2, to buy the video store and the Quick Stop for Brian O'Halloran and
Jeff Anderson.
yeah, Dante and Randall.
Dante and Randall. That's a great investment at that time, a video store.
Yeah, no kidding.
Thanks, guys.
Now, she's committed 37 heists, and we don't ever see her again.
Right?
So I'm guessing that she went away for a lot longer than she thought she was going to.
Oh, yeah. She's probably killed in prison by her, accomplices.
Right? I don't think we mentioned this on the podcast, but I don't think we've mentioned it yet in the commentary that his name is a reference to Land of the Lost, Marshall Willenholly.
Right.
I don't know how she can guarantee him that he'll get into the FBI for doing that, though.
Yeah, I don't know. And how he basically forgets the entire purpose of his job, which is to find the monkey.
Right.
That's the one part he has to forget about. They have the weirdest relationship.
Yeah.
Never at any point was it anything but disingenuous with her.
And for some reason, she likes it. She seems like a messed up person.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's something wrong with Justice.
I think that's ad lib too, because that is an absolutely genuine laugh.
Yeah. Is it this movie where at the end everybody's leaving? Because he actually does end up kissing guys because he's with Dante.
Well, he's with Hooper, but yeah.
No. Who's he with? Shit. I can't remember his name. The guy who does the Honky Hayden Coon comic book.
Yeah, Hooper.
That's who. His name's Hooper. I thought. I don't know. I thought Ben Affleck's character's name was Hooper.
No, Holden.
Yeah. Is that at the end of this movie that he's coming out though?
Yeah.
Which is weird. It's like maybe 10 minutes from now, if that.
Right. Yeah, he claims that he doesn't kiss guys, but I guess I don't know. Maybe he was just. I guess he's still closeted.
I guess. But not enough to not show up to a movie premiere of like your life story with another dude.
Right.
I like the other joke here is that they're all like, early like teens.
Right. And how do they find them? Like, he's just, did you post as Magnolia fan? How did they find his real identity? And I mean, maybe there's a way, I don't know, but I don't think
you can track their IP, but that seems a little...
Right, I don't think these two could do it.
I like just the idea of people doing this.
Right. That list is so long, too.
It's so specific.
I like how he laughs because he thinks it's so funny that he said that.
Yeah. And they just keep their anger up for like all these like elaborate trips.
And no one just says no.
They're just still as mad as they were in the first. At least they're considerate.
Right. And here comes Trish the Dish is going to be here with Alicia Jones.
Yeah, were originally both Willems supposed to be here? Because one with Ethan Suplee, who didn't seem to keep the role up after Mallrats.
Right. Yeah, I think they were supposed to, yeah.
Judi Dench played me. Oh, yeah, that's right. They are sisters.
Yep.
They have a pretty good sex life.
Right. Maybe, I guess the implication is they're together, but maybe not.
I don't know.
It might just be like a sarcastic comment that he makes to him.
I don't know. What I just noticed, though, was Will Ferrell was wearing an FBI hat. So he did join the FBI somehow. I never caught that before. It's just like so obvious. He had like an FBI hat and shirt on.
Oh, God.
They might even show him here. I don't know. Yeah, there you see the FBI hat.
Yep. Well, that is Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and it's. I would put it in the top half at least of Kevin Smith movies. I like.
Oh yeah, for sure, top half.
I like this movie a lot, and he's certainly made better movies, but I don't know if I've ever enjoyed, like I've said, I don't know if I ever enjoyed a movie in the theater as much as I enjoyed this one.
Yeah, this was hilarious in the theater, especially since you and I had seen like all the commentaries and such.
Yeah, it was the fact that both of us had seen all that stuff, and then we watched this movie together that really made it.
Steve Kameko.
Yep. I want to see.
I could do a split screen for Jason Lee.
So they showed Tracy Morgan, and they gave him his name, but they didn't show the other guy's name.
It might be later because I guess he's not important enough to show or else it's alphabetical order.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is it, though. They say Morris Day in the Times, and then that's it. Then it's just regular credits. Oh, that poor guy. He appeared on screen, but he wasn't important enough to name. Like they couldn't just take a little font space to put his name just above his head.
Yeah, they could just show him at the same time. I mean, they did in fact show him at the same time.
Oh God. Yeah, a lot of people probably aren't aware who Morris Day and the Time were. They were a band that Prince put together, and he wrote all their songs like he did with, a few other bands that he helped put together.
Another example of Kevin Smith putting something in that he wants, like, oh, I guess Jay and Silent Bob are called on stage.
Right. To dance.
And they dance with Morris Day and the Time.
Right. Look how happy he is there.
Like all the early 20s people just were so into Morris Day and the Time.
Right. A band that was already like 25 years old when this came out.
Yeah.
Well, not quite that, but 20 some years. ...2001, so this movie is now 18 years old.
Pretty crazy.
It is weird to think about that it was 18 years ago that we went to see this. Definitely a good movie, though, and one of our favorites. So that is Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Thanks for watching it with us. As always, you can contact us on Twitter at Massive Late Fee, Massive Late Fee on Facebook. Check out our Patreon. Every little bit helps. Patreon.com/Massive Late Fee. Obviously, you're on Bandcamp already if you're watching this. Check out some of our other audio commentaries on there. And you can email us, massivelatefee@gmail.com. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you later. Bye.
See you later.